Hello everyone, my name is Christian and today we're at the wash house, Industrial Denim Wash House Laundry. The name for this place is called Master Touch, or we can call MC Laundry. They've been around many years. They've been helping a lot of brands, Girlfriend, Mothers, Tom Ford, many of premium brands. But we're here at their showroom to go over a little bit of wash and what it is and how and what not to do, what to do, and a little bit of procedures as well. So here I can show you some of wash libraries or developments racks, such as like this kind of wash. We have heavy stone, whiskers, grindings. This is Citizen of Humidity. This could be reference or this could be a brand that we're working with here. So something like this. Also we have black jeans like this, Girlfriend. Very simple black stone wash with enzyme, with the subtle whiskers and hand sand, potassium. I'm naming all this industrial process so you get to know. These are called acid wash or heavy potassium spray all over. Old Levi's had this wash and we duplicate. And also we do have something like this, white. Most of the time you buy the 12 fabric or on PFD, you do garment dye and then apply the stone, enzyme, distress, so on, and to achieve this type of wash. Or you could strip it down from denim indigo, like as much as you can, and then apply the garment dye. There's many different ways to achieve colors and washes. Very basic, made in USA, manual, hand sand, potassium. Nowadays a lot of company using lasers or techniques, but I prefer manual by human's hand because it makes those natural effects of the wash. Because I wanted to explain a little bit of why we make this kind of industrial wash effects, because originally there was no wash back then with the Levi's and Lee, but nowadays, you know, we duplicate those kind of aged look, of worn look, to provide the customer and consumer those kind of styles or look of it. I've always telling wash developers, I question them, why you think we're washing it, and where do we have to do hand sand, whisker, potassium, paint drops, why, what's the reason? But I try to remind them why we're doing this kind of washing process, and customer pays enough money to achieve those kind of effect, because we are trying to help them naturally achieve those worn effect, which means when you sit down you create those kind of whiskers naturally. When you wear, you know, depends on your living style, you know, your knee gets more those kind of carpenters, or they knee down and they could get more hand sanding effect on the knee area. On the thigh a little less, so there's high and lows. On the butt area you sit down, on the woods or stone you get more distress. So depends on where you live, what you do, it all comes differently. But most of the time I wanted to talk with our developers, wash developers or customer, to give them idea why you're washing denim, and also it needs to be cohesively works, which means on the light denim, you know, obviously when it gets to this light color you worn that much longer, and you use you do heavy hand sand, potassium. But let's say on the dark color, you didn't get to wear that long, so you don't do that much heavy hand sand, so it doesn't look natural. So which means we have different type of hand sand paper, heavy one, medium, lighter, soft one. So something like this on the medium to dark, I recommend to use soft hand sand paper to sand down these areas to whiskers and hand sanding, because it doesn't make sense to me if you have heavy whiskers, heavy hand sand with the darker color base. That didn't make sense to me. So it all has to make sense while you're washing denim. So that's how I communicate with our developer and try to achieve as natural as possible. So now let's go outside of the factory and let's go step by step, and I'll explain a little bit of wash process while they're working on it, and the machineries and tools. So let's go. Hi, so here, these are our sample area to develop some samples, such as customer requests to match or how to develop all this kind of samples. We're starting here. So these in the denim washing, the sodium or salt is really important part. So how much you using your salt, it comes a different effect, and yeah, there's many technique to use those kind of sodium, soda ash. So these are all the materials that we're using. So this is salt. This is a salt, and as you can see, we use the most. This is empty this much because we're using that much of sodium, the soda ash, so on. So every laundry wash house has this kind of a sample water drum or area to look at the denim color closely. So when you put it in the water, they could figure out, how much they have to drop down the color or not. They see the details in the water. So they're checking with this drum. This is a sample washing machine. As you can see inside, there's stones. These are what we're using, but these are after washed. We've been using already. This is a used stone. The newer stone is more edgier and curvy and sharp. Sometimes, depends on the fabrication, we use the stone, or if it's delicate fabric, we use the stone to make the abrasion. If it's a heavy weight and strong fabric, we use new stone. So we balance that out. It depends. It all depends. This is the extractor. When we put in the water, we have to extract water out. So this is small sample machine for the extract. Let's go this way. So this is a big washing machine. It all has temperature, time. So we have to set the right amount of temperature, right amount of the time to achieve the better quality. A ver, open. So on inside we put bleach, we put enzyme, stone. This is a newer stone with powder, more edgier to achieve the stone wash effect. So these are garments that it gets stone washed with bleach, enzyme, any type of chemical that we have to apply to. There's a lot of stones in it. And this is a stone, maybe you don't have to shoot, but maybe you want to shoot. These are new stones that's going into the machine. In denim wash, there's two big divisions. One is a dry process.
one is wet process. Whichever gets to water, it's wet process. The dry process will show you in the outside of area, but it's all dry, hand sanding, whiskers, grinding. Those are we call dry process. And whichever we put the chemical in it into water, it's called wet process. So you know. Gracias. So in this room, we're making whiskers on the front and the back knee or front chevron. We'll show you here. This is called back knee whiskers. Again, by doing it hand, we make more natural effect better than machine with the laser. And he could put strength on his arm to put high and lows. So when you make the whisker, it's like a drawing, you know, like you could smooth it out, you could press a little bit to make it a little, you know, high and low naturally. Back then, when I start learning about, you know, practicing about wash, I wore the, you know, raw. You know, I tried on and then I sat down and the whisker gets creased and I use my chalk to make the drawing on the garment that I wear and then pull it out and then bring it to the laundry and then we made the hand sand whisker of my own. So that's how you create this type of whiskers in the front. And the back knee, of course, when you sit down or bend your knee, it gets creased. So make that area look like worn as natural as possible. Okay, gracias. So in this area, we're making hand sand, front and back area. So as you can see, by hand, naturally we're making those kind of highs and lows, worn look of the area that we need to sand it out or make it more faded. So this is how we make. So after the whisker is done, bring it here and put it in the mannequin and blow it up. It's like a balloon, but we made it like a leg shape. Then we have to tighten enough to make all the surface evenly sanded. As you can see how much effort they're putting in to make a jean, even with this one process. So this is the beauty of denim and our efforts to create a denim. It's not just coming out of like a 3D printer or, you know, with the machinery that creates all this kind of, you know, natural effect. So we're doing like this every day by our hands, you know, with our passion, you know, to create those kind of natural worn look of washing. This is made in Los Angeles, made in USA, denim process. In this room, we normally spray. No, está bien. So in this room, we're doing the spraying. Most of the time, we use this room for the potassium spray on the sanded area. But today, as you can see, we're processing the coating effect. So this room, because of the chemical, usually workers wear masks. But since right now for the shoot, they avoid it. So we don't have mask on, but there's a lot of chemicals that we're using to create all this kind of coated effect, or, you know, as you see, a lot of jeans has a white front or back. The worn look has a white kind of tone. That's coming from the potassium spray. Potassium, the color is like a burgundy color, but when it gets to the washing machine with different chemicals, it turns out to those kind of white color from the base. Okay, so we talked about the wash a little bit. Why we do washing? Because we wanted to make the worn look of, the natural worn look, aged look. So that's why we're applying this kind of chemicals, materials to wash it down. But one thing very important for you to know, depends on the fabrication of what you're using. You have to pick the right chemical. For example, as I spoke earlier at the fabric area, when you pick the more synthetic contents in the mixed with the cotton, you don't use bleach. Don't ever tell. You have to address the laundry people. Hey, this fabric is really delicate. It has synthetic yarn, so do not use bleach to color down. Please use potassium to color it down. It'll effect similar. You could drop down the color with the potassium and bleach. When you have a strong, mostly cotton, 99% cotton, 100% cotton, you have no problem using bleach. The reason why is if you use bleach into this synthetic yarn mixed or many spandex portion or lycra, you will kill the yarn throughout the bleach chemical. So you won't get that recovery if you're making super stretch, skinny or slim fit. The recovery is really important for the fit, but when you use bleach, it will get dyed. So it will get like, you will not get the right spec on the body as well, because it won't recover back because the yarn is already dyed. So using the right chemical to your chosen fabric is really important. And also those kind of delicate, less than 10 ounce or 9.5 ounce, I wouldn't recommend using the new stone. Instead, if you want the abrasions on the seams, use used stone with the enzyme. So it will keep the fabric as stirred as possible. And also, if you see a lot of peeling on the surface of fabric, enzyme helps smooth it down, the surface. And also another key point to know is most of the time we use softener at the end process to make it softer. But sometimes if you're on rough effect, tell them not to put softener in it. But I would recommend to use silicone softener together, because softener is only in the inside of fabric, for example, easy to remember. Silicone is more surface. So if you put it together, the surface gets softer. Also, through the softener, you get the fabric, inside the fabric gets softer when you wear the pair of garments. So that's another key to know. And also the silicone makes the base tone a little bit darker. Let's say when you develop the wash and it came out a little lighter than what you wanted to achieve, ask them to do a little bit of silicone, add more silicone, so it will bring up a little bit darkness base of the original fabric. And also lastly, there's a process called ozone, which it's a laser kind of technique. But the ozone, if the wash house has ozone, if you want to achieve a little bit of vintage yellowish look of it, instead of using yellow tint spray chemical, have them use ozone, either 5 minutes to 8 minutes, not too long because it smells a little bit. So you don't want to go more than 10 minutes of ozone. But between 4 to 8 or 5 to 8 minutes, it will give you very natural vintage, look or vibe to your denim. So ozone is really good. And also I remember Queen Elizabeth, when she had a cancer or illness, and she put ozone in her room. So maybe it's good for your body as well. So yeah, I guess that's enough information about the washing. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll reply. I'll answer to you as best I can. Thank you.